Most people produce custom GPTs that produce generic, forgettable, zero impact outputs. Then they have a brainwave. I need to write a blog post, so I'll create a custom GPT to write more blog posts. I need to write more LinkedIn articles, so I'll create a GPT to write LinkedIn articles. I need to write email newsletters, so I'll create a custom GPT to help me do exactly that. And the output is slop. In this video, I'm going to show you how to build maybe your first custom GPT. In the first half, I'll break down the common mistakes and show you how to design your GPT to produce better outputs by playing a game that we call the why game. Then in the second half, I'll show you how to produce a GPT in real time. And we're going to do that in less than 25 minutes. So I have a question for you. If you were going to create a mini you, an AI agent, a custom GPT, would you be creating something for the purposes of, I don't know, lead generation? And in that instance, I'm talking about client-facing custom GPTs. Or would you be creating something that is for internal use to make your life a little bit easier and save time? So if you've never been here before, or if you're watching me for the first time, turn on that brain of yours and ask yourself that question. 1 or 2, client-facing or internal use? Because I want you to focus on one thing so that you can see it through. So I want to hear from you. I want you to use the chatty chat, and I want you to tell me in what situation, or what is a scenario, or what is a potential use case that you would like to use to create a custom GPT. If you were to create one of these things, what are you going to do it for? Give me some answers. Now, it might be something that you've seen me do. It might be something that you've done yourself. It might be something that you've seen someone else do. What is an outcome that you might want? What is something that you might want to build, which is often the easiest place to start? Is there an answer that you want answered frequently? Ali has said LinkedIn posts. Keep them coming. Thank you. Monica has said social media posts. So that's interesting. Ali has said LinkedIn posts. Monica has said social media posts. And I'm glad that that you did this and said things this way. And the reason why is because when we create something, we're not outsourcing, as I said before, we're not outsourcing to AI, we're out tasking. And you might know that a LinkedIn post will be different in structure to a Instagram post. Writing grants, says Jennifer. Yeah, if that's part of what it is that you need to do, that is a headache. You're going to simplify the process of writing grants. But that also could be something which is something that you offer to clients as a client-facing thing, depending on what you do and what your clients' needs are. Ideal client messaging, said Joe. Again, I would like to say in what scenario, in what situation. So we have a really thorough, advanced custom GPT that we use to write the emails that I write. So I produce 5 emails a week, and I use this tool to get me started. That there is messaging in a particular situation. I use it for my content rhythms. Now, once you've done that, I want you to give it a priority upgrade. And this is why I call this the why game. So we want to get an outcome, right? And the outcome might be, we want it to write a grant. That is the outcome. But the question is why? Or what type of grant? Or what is the outcome that we want above that? So for example, it might be, we want a grant writing custom GPT to use as a lead magnet. It's an outcome that gets outcome. You might say, I want to do a blog post that's search engine optimized. I might want to do a LinkedIn article that gets comments. This is indeed the why game as we go deeper. So I hope that you're scribbling. Ali says, we use ChatGPT to help us produce a 3-minute presentation for a business masterclass earlier this week. Only warning was we asked it to keep it to 3 minutes and it came up with something that was 4.5 minutes. That's okay. You can test it. You're gonna figure things out. Now, I'm going to use this as an example. You turn around and say, I want you to create a 3-minute script for a presentation that will what? Get people asking for my phone number at the end, if that's your goal. Dazzle's fine, but we want an outcome that's going to get an outcome. This is also called first principles thinking. And what it does is it stops you from optimizing the things that are not important. So here's how to build a custom GPT, and I've got the build instructions here. Down the left, I've got the hard way. Now, the hard way, to some degree, is a slightly better way, but however, it's the hard way, and I want to get you started. So, if you were to bake a cake, the first thing that you need to do is make sure that you've got all the ingredients. Yeah. If you were making pancakes, you'd go, I need the eggs, I need the flour, I need the milk. Do we have any Nutella? Do we have any maple syrup? Right? And you'd pull them all together. These are the ingredients. So if you were to build a custom GPT straight up from the outset, we know that we want to create something that gets an outcome in the process of getting that outcome. Essentially, if we were to do this the hard way, we'd start with our own method. Now, for some people on this call, this is going to be easier because you've already begun to codify your frameworks and your methods and your processes, and you might already have a method. The problem is that most people don't have a method for the things that they want to put into the custom GPT. You may have never written a LinkedIn post designed to get comments before. But however, if you have created something for your clients and you're making something that's client-facing, you might already have your own method. And this is the instruction. It's the steps. Now, I'm actually going to jump down to here, conversation design. You might have the steps that someone needs to follow, but however, if someone follows the steps step by step explicitly, often there are times where they're going to fall off. It's a weird, funny thing. So the same way that right here, I'm talking about two different ways of doing things, and I'm saying pull together your ingredients, that there would be a logical first step. But as a trainer and a teacher, I also know that my conversation design needs to be different. I need to be giving you information in ways that's designed to get you to take action. So it needs to be functional in the sense that, you can't get started unless you have A, B, and C. But I also need to make it gamified so that when you work through this process, you're not going to fall off. That's conversation design. If you've got knowledge docs, this is really, really important. So for example, knowledge doc is the information that you would use to educate the custom GPT beyond instruction, beyond the conversation design. So if I was producing a LinkedIn article writer, I might upload 15, 20 of my favorite LinkedIn posts. And I'd go, this is the knowledge that you need to know about what I think is a great LinkedIn post. What is something else I might upload to the knowledge docs? And there is an example on the screen right here, right now. What is something else that I might choose to upload to the knowledge docs? This is optional, voice codecs. So for example, if I wanted to create something which was a LinkedIn article writer, of course, I'm going to want to upload my voice codecs so that it sounds like me. If I'm creating something that's very functional and client-facing, that actually might be distracting to have it written, to have it respond to people in my voice. It might create an amazing experience, but it might be distracting too. Finally, what do we got here? We've got the guardrails, which is the don't do document. So if we're building something and we want to instruct AI, sometimes the best way to instruct AI is to tell it what not to do. So that there is the hard way. So now if I turn around and I said, hey, raise your hand if you've got a method that you might have saved as a PDF, you've assembled your knowledge docs in your second brain, you've already begun to think about what would be the logical sequence of steps that somebody would need to take to get the result. And the logical sequence, sorry, I said the logical sequence of steps, but often we have the logical sequence of steps, and then we actually have the sequence of steps that people are going to follow. Do you already have your guardrails document? Have you already pulled together your voice codecs? Now, I would be really surprised, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if there was anyone on the call that had all these 5 things. Indeed, this bit here, I'd have to sit down and create specifically for the purpose of the project that I'm about to do. So instead, who wants to do things the easy way? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to zoom in so you can see the iPad only. And you might need to squint to read the writing on the right. Otherwise, take a photo, pull out your camera. And what you'll see here is a series of prompts. It does say P1, P2, P3, P4, P5, and then it's just got some comments and some suggestions. But if we're going to create something designed to get an outcome within an outcome, or build something, or even get an answer, why don't we ask, why don't we seek the assistance of AI in the first place? Why don't we start there? Great place to start? I think so. So P1 stands for prompt one. If I want to get outcome that gets outcome, what are the ingredients / best practice I will need? So right now, hopefully you've got something in mind. You're going, you know what? I've got an idea for something that's client facing, or I've got an idea for something that's internal use. Use the chatty chat tool and write this bit down. I want to get outcome that gets outcome. So what is the outcome that gets outcome? I want to write it. I want an essay. If I want to write a LinkedIn article that gets comments, what are the ingredients best practice I will need? If you've got an outcome that gets an outcome, use the chatty chat tool, because I'm going to jump in and I might use yours as the example. Number two, what are the likely mistakes that I will make? Now over here, remember, we've got our guardrails, our conversations, our conversation design. If we know the mistakes that people are going to make, we can uncover those barriers. They're going to stop people banging their heads. Number three, what are the steps I will need to take to get the outcome? So this is an extension of the conversation design, but what I've done is I've asked the question first, what are the mistakes that I will make? Number four, please create the instructions I will need to transform this process into a custom GPT. So again, if we're using AI, if we want to use AI to outtask the things that we do, let's exploit the power of AI as it exists. Number five, please craft a name and description for my custom GPT that explains what the user will get. Because again, we want to outtask something, because we want to get an outcome that gets an outcome. And this is interesting as well too, because when you get the name and the description, you get a better idea of whether you have the internal clarity that you want. These things ask for a conversation starter. So if I jump across to, let me have a look. If I jump across to my blog post builder, you can see I've got SEO blog post builder at the top. I've got a description, and then I've got a conversation starter. Most people don't know what to do or what to start. So in ChatGPT, when you're building a custom GPT, there's a button here where you can click it as a conversation starter, and you get to define what is the conversation starter. And I found that the best way to do it is to say, let's get outcome together. Let's write an optimized article together. And that way it becomes easy. It's a no-nonsense first step. This is an example of conversation design. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. Let's press this button. What's the topic of your blog post? And that's where it's begun, by following my instructions. Now, guardrails document is a fancy word, a fancy way to describe a don't do document. And a don't do document is simply a document that says, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. All right, let's pretend we're arriving here for the first time. What we're going to want to do is we're going to want to go into our Explore GPTs. I got a lot down the left here. What I did is I scroll down and it says Explore GPTs. If you don't have any of your own GPTs, it's just going to be sitting there. It's going to be much easier to find. And then the top right here, I have my GPTs. Cool. Then I've got create a GPT above a whole bunch of other GPTs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a GPT. And when you see this, there's one where I can have a conversation with it. I'm still going to suggest that you open configure, so that you've got your setup over here. Well, we then suggest have two tabs open. One is you've got your configure on the left, and the other one you've got this conversation on the right. And remember what I did? If I want to get outcome that gets outcome, what are the ingredients best practice that I will need? What if we do something that's really meta? I'm going to change this to, if I want to write a Facebook post, here we go, that gets people to respond with a keyword, hand raise email, in order to get a gift so I can collect a lead. All right, here we go. Can you see my process of thinking here? This is why I talk about the why game. The why game has multiple layers to it. In my little worksheet, I went down 2 layers. Just then I went down 2 or 3 layers. If I want to write a Facebook post that gets people to respond with a keyword, hand raise email, in order to get a gift so I can collect a lead, what are the ingredients, best practice I will need? Now, at this moment, I don't really need to look at what it's saying, but I do find it interesting, right? I do find it interesting. Now, if this is something that I'm really good at, I'm probably going to read it thoroughly and I'm going to add some different things. Clear single promise, a scroll stopping opening, a relatable problem, a small insider demonstration, simple call to action, clear delivery mechanism. Oh my goodness, this is like what I teach. Conversational tone, clean structure. Cool. And it's gone all the way down. Now, if I go back to my PowerPoint presentation, what are the mistakes that I will make? Where are you? There we go. What mistakes will I make? I'm going to let it answer that question while I grab the next one. Is what I'm doing here is I'm giving it an opportunity to educate itself. Sure, I can read this, see if it says anything stupid or wrong, but and in doing so, educate me. What I might do, Frederick says it's hard to see, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to complete desktop. Let me see. There we go, full desktop. Now, you don't need to see what's going on the screen right now. You just need to know what I'm doing. So all I've really done so far is I've taken my 3 questions from the slide that you've taken on the screen. That one, if I want to get outcome that gets outcome, what are the ingredients? Next, what are the likely mistakes? What are the action steps that I will need to take to get the outcome? And then we have the next one. Da, da, da. As I said, I could spend a little bit of time reading all this, but I'm not going to. Please create the instructions I will need to transform this into a custom GPT. While that's doing that, can you see that? Facebook hand raise lead post generator role. Take it one step further. What I've got here is please craft a name and a description. This is usually just to make sure that it hasn't fallen off track and I've got it right. And often when I do this, the best thing that I hope that comes out of this is that you look at it and go, James did this in a matter of minutes while having a conversation with me. Imagine if I spent 30 minutes to an hour focused on this and could save myself hours and hours. So here we go. We've got the ingredients that we need. Now, just to check in, the last one is a conversation starter. Let's get outcome together. But then we will need to stress test it. And then that will help us create a don't do document. So where are we? All right, cool. So I've got this open in the 2 tabs. The recommended name is the hand raise post builder, which I can put here. The description is the description that it's given me. It might be too long. I'll just choose this one, which is interesting when I said before about creating a custom GPT for the purposes of creating a custom GPT, is that I would have instructions about this all being too long. And then here we go. We've got a big set of instructions here. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. I might just grab the whole lot here. It doesn't really need to do it. All right, roll. Grab from here. Roll. Core objective, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. Tone and style, da, da, da. So you'd want to read this, make sure that it is optional ads. Why not? I'll have a look at that later in case it's not something that I want to do. All right, let's get outcome. Let's craft a hand raise post. That's our conversation starter. Now over here, we have the knowledge base piece. So I'm going to bring myself back onto the screen so I can emphasize this and ask you a question. What is something that we might want to include in the knowledge base? What is something that we might want to use in the knowledge base? You tell me really quickly before we bring this home. If this was something like a Facebook custom GPT where I'm writing, like articles or whatever, I might want to include my voice codecs, right? In the knowledge base. What are some of the other things? Deborah has said second brain. I probably would want to add things like my core promise, my business executive summary, the type of things that we keep and store my core in our second brain, my core promise, my client profile overview, the fame brain. I can add these things in my knowledge base. And that way it's going to not respond generally, it's going to respond for someone just like me. Right now, all I'm going to do is I'm going to create the button, create new action. Oh, not new action. I thought that was not a new action. I want to create the whole thing. That's what I want to do. Create the whole thing. I want to make this where anyone can see it, which I can do if I'm using the premium version. I'm going to hit save. Having a little bit of a think. That's okay. And wham, bam, shazam, I have created my own custom GPT. Now, a couple of little things, as I said before, a couple of extra things to do. One, you've got to test this thing. And as it does things that you don't like, it's as simple as putting that stuff in a separate document and then uploading that document into the knowledge base. Or you can start to add those suggestions to the bottom of the instructions. Don't do these things. Don't use em dashes. Don't use antithesis in hypothetical framing situations. Things that you don't like, you can put in. So it's got let's craft a hand raise post. I'm going to do that. And it's going to set me on the right track. Who is this for? Not a bad example to get started. For me personally, because I also have the frameworks that I've already created, I might upload, this is an offer doc. This is an offer doc. Now, where's a gift? Here we go. There's my AI voice codex handrails cheat sheet. I might be as I don't know, as lazy as uploading the thing that I want to do here and just hitting go when that uploads. Now, if I've named the target audience in my document, this one I suspect that I haven't. All right, it says, okay, this is what we're going to do. I've analyzed, I've looked at it. The keyword's going to be codex. Here's the Facebook post. And we can create some rules all around that. Wham, bam, shazam.